What's up? It's Jasparboo again, coming in for another video. You're gonna have to bear with me with the voice. I've got gut healthy tea with lime, lemon, and honey. We're working on the voice, but unfortunately, I just sound like this. I kind of sound like your sweet Southern belle auntie that wants you to do strange things with her. I kind of sound like that gal. I don't know where it came from. But anyways, I'm enjoying Reddit a lot. I don't know what it is, but it's a place where I find a lot of people that I relate to, and a lot of people that I am so glad I only interact with on the internet. So, we're gonna test out this trusty and barely bare voice of mine. See if this tea is doing anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this off, and we're just gonna enjoy some stories from Reddit. I'll give you a little piece of my mind since I am a new believer myself. So I'm not really trying to teach anything, but what I can stand behind is my own testimony. So let's see what people have to say. So when you just go to Reddit, this isn't gonna work. It's just not gonna work. My vocal cords won't do it. It's the one day. You like my cat? You like my kitties? Because I'm the cat lady now, apparently. We have 3 cats. 3 cats is wild. It's too many cats. A lot of cats. But I love it. I really love it. I was thinking eventually I'm gonna put like a little, like over here on the screen. Right here, where the sky is. Anyways, I was gonna put like a little right here, so you can see our babies, whether it's Mr. Hermes or Athena, which she never really hangs out on the show with me, but I'm definitely gonna try to get the kittens to enjoy it. I already have the chair sitting right there and ready. It just needs a cam on it. So let me know if that's something you would want to see. It's just a cam of our animals hanging out on the show with mommy, because we're here a lot. So anyways, the point was to get my voice back in commission. But to be honest with you, I just don't think it's gonna happen today. I'm running out of time too. Anyways, where's the fire? Where's the fire for God? Confused about passion in Christian groups after my intense encounter. Better. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. Hey everyone, I'm kind of lost here. I've only been a Christian for about a year, and it all kicked off in this intense way. Back on September 9th, 2024, I was totally at rock bottom. Just crying out to God like, I give up, I surrender, I need you, something. And then bam, this supernatural thing happened for like 15 minutes. Super hard to explain, but it totally flipped everything for me and lit this fire that's still going strong. But now I'm confused why that fire isn't everywhere else. Like early on, maybe a couple months in, I met my best friend who pulled me into this Bible study with around 30 folks my age, one-on-one. They're awesome, super cool, seem real when we chat. In the group chat, they'll throw in prayer requests sometimes, and during sessions, there are a few questions, Bible verses, and even some joy shared. But I don't live with them, so who knows their whole lives? Still, the sessions feel so passive overall. Most people just listen, not many jump in. Nerves? Maybe. The chat's basically dead otherwise. It's, it's funny, it's coming up actually. My husband and I just started a discipleship group, and I was kind of leery for this exact reason, just because I've been in other Bible studies, and it was just kind of like this checking the box off of the to-do list kind of thing, and I didn't want to go back into that. I wanted it to be something that we really took joy in, and that like when we were taking in the material, we were really taking it in and going over it as a couple. I do feel like we've been able to do that, but I think some people love the Christian label, and so they go into these groups with the wrong intention of not building relationship with God, and that's not always the main focus of it, right? So anyways, let me continue on. So, where was I? Let's see. The chat's basically dead otherwise. My friend and I are pretty much the only ones posting stuff to encourage spreading the gospel, shining light, making a difference, sharing stories, or being ready to talk about our hope. Could it be that none of the 30 are into texting? That might be possible, but I don't know, seems unlikely. And it's not just there, it spills into public too, like chats with people who say they're Christians. A bunch seem like genuine believers, even some randoms in public, and I don't want to discount that, but most come off as kind of lukewarm. I don't know, this has me scratching my head. Why is it so hard to spot Christians who are really on fire for God? Like, can't stop thinking or talking about Him level. And the group chats are mostly prayer stuff when they happen. If we only meet weekly, shouldn't we be hyping each other up every day with questions versus joy? At work or out and about, I'm always the one starting Jesus or gospel talks. In 26 years, only 3 people ever brought up Christ to me first. Where's all the drive? I'm so confused. God, this makes me sad. But, it's pretty fair. I grew up in the church. Little background about me. I was born to 2, I basically call my parents Jesus hippies, Mom found Jesus running around chasing everything but, and Daddy did too. But growing up, there was still a lot of love for rock and roll. There's still a lot of love for recreationals. But nonetheless, I grew up in the church, and my mom and dad just didn't really fit what people considered the stereotypical Christian mold, because they're hippies, and not everybody liked that. And so I remember growing up with a lot of church hurt. I guess that's what we call it now, is hashtag church hurt. I definitely understood people who said that they didn't believe in God because if that's God's people chosen and accepted, then why would I want to be a part of that? I think the modern church has been very lukewarm. As a new believer myself, it's a struggle that I've been going through because I stepped away and I rebelled against Christianity for so long because of this very thing. That I don't necessarily know how we're supposed to squash it, except for try to be on fire and be more open myself. Because at the end of the day, I think it's just that as humans, the seed of Adam, our flesh is getting the best of us. I really do think that. I think that we forget to lean on the Lord as much as we should. And that's where the bottom line is, because He's able to move where we allow Him. Right? And So, anyways, do with that what you will. Let's continue. At work or out and about, I'm always the one starting Jesus or gospel talks. In 26 years, only 3 people ever brought up Christ to me first. Where's all the drive? I'm so confused. I'm high energy myself, always itching to talk to God now. Everyday stuff like sports or that awkward store talk feels like a total vanity. Boring, pointless, not helpful at all. Might make me look like a Jesus freak, but whatever, I don't care. I'm not sure if my big encounter is why I'm this, but maybe it's the gap. Like people who grew up in the church might have it as routine, slow knowledge build that doesn't hit the heart in one big click. Maybe. I think the truth actually really scares people. I think it's really far from that. I think that people want to go to sleep and you know, if you read the word and then you read Revelation and you look at the world that we're living in now, there's a tendency to maybe get pretty overwhelmed or to feel like a pretty tremendous weight about it, and that can be hard to accept when you're first coming into Christianity, and then when people become more mature, I honestly couldn't tell you. And the reason I say that is because I'm just now beginning to come into a walk where I'm actually surrounded by mature Christians. I think a lot of people don't take that other step even of being surrounded by mature Christians. I think for this person, you know, it sounds like you are newly born again, and one of the things that you're looking for is to grow, because we are called to grow. You know, you can't live off of milk forever. You have to transition from the milk for babes to meat for men. And so I think part of the frustration that comes up with that is we don't like the uncomfortability when you transition from that, because you do sometimes outgrow people. And sometimes we have to deal with not being kind of alone for a while, I think, because we're looking for all of this outward what God is and seeking something from Him when He needs us to be still and to be with Him, so that we can get discernment from the Spirit, right? So anyways, I'm sorry if you hear my dog going crazy in the back. He's in love with my mother, and so he's losing his mind that she left. Anyway, I'm not sure if my big encounter is why I'm like this, but maybe it's the gap. Like people who grew up in the church might have it as routine, slow knowledge build that doesn't hit the heart in one big click. For me, that day, everything just clicked. Head stuff became heart stuff. Experience over just ideas. And Jesus turned into my total everything. I don't know, I wish more like that. Jesus is the one and only, way above everything. Without Him, we're zilch. But with Him, everything's possible. He should be priority one and go-to for anxiety, fear, sadness, depression, joy, questions, all of it. But so often He feels like just a side thing, not the center. I'm not trying to force anything. I really care and want people to see they're missing real life fulfillment now. It may be eternity if not truly changed. Yeah, I get that. But you know what? We have everyday lives, and I think a lot of us forget to talk to God every day. We should be talking to God first and foremost, you know, every single day. Like even right now, before I went on here and recorded, I should have talked to God. I should have asked Him, like, hey, is this what you want me to be doing? Because who knows? Like, maybe me losing my voice like this the last couple days, since it's been like so much of my inspiration to film like this. Maybe this is God telling me no. I don't know. Um, anyways, that's one way to look at it. He should be our priority, and we should come to him for everything, but we don't. And he forgives us for it. That's what's so crazy to me. I have a couple of friends. God bless them. Shout out at Wild Moon Child on Instagram. Anyways, my girls, my girlfriends, they it doesn't matter if 6 months goes by. I can call one of them up, and it's like nothing ever changed. And it's kind of like that with God, except God is a jealous God. And so, he's a little salty with you. He's a little salty with you. He wants to be with you. He cares more than that. Because he's like your husband, He's waiting up for you at night, wondering where you be, baby. So, anyways, it's not what saved us, but a transformed life is evidence of being saved, right? From outside, if things don't look different, it makes me wonder. But as another believer, I'm just confused. What's blocking folks? Anyone else feeling this confusion with lack of fire in your groups, cities, America, or wherever? Do you think it's tough to find passion? Or maybe tied to how faith kicked off? If you've had something similar, tips on making disciples and helping see Jesus is everything, hit me up. Really want to hear. I'm puzzled. First off, you're a lot farther ahead than most Christians in their spiritual journey, so congrats. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of lukewarm or false Christians. The Bible says, by their fruit you will know them. Even among real Christians, though, there's plenty of Christians who struggle with consistently being tuned in to fellowship with Scripture, myself included. Yeah, say exactly. And I think this is probably the answer that you're gonna get from a lot of Christians. Is unfortunately that we understand our responsibilities. But I think it also says in the Bible there's an abundant harvest to reap. What's missing is the reapers. So anyways, there's a boatload of reasons, but I think you're right about fear being one of them. However, I think it's mostly Satan aiming to distract us. Yeah, I think a lot of people blame things on Satan too, though. There's this book, Interview with the Devil. I believe it's from Napoleon Hill, but don't quote me on that. Anyways, it talks about how the things that we do, the blind spots, and the places that we decide to be lazy and to not pay attention to, and the devil just knows us pretty well, just like he knows the word pretty well. He's patient, he's sitting back, he's watching, and so it's not really the devil doing the dirt work as much. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you do still have to bite the apple. And there was still a responsibility that had to be taken there. And we like to stray away from that. We like to hide our nakedness, right? But one thing that I'm learning is that another thing that I have to come to God with is I have to be vulnerable to admit that I'm wrong and that I don't know anything. Like Socrates said, I think I'm misquoting it, but it's basically to know anything is to know that you know nothing. And I know nothing. All I really know is that Jesus is King. That's really all I know. Thank you, and all glory to God. I see more lukewarm Christians than outright false ones. Many can't even give a clear, grace-centered reason for their hope of heaven, often due to a lack of teaching on the gospel of Christ alone through faith alone. The world's pull is strong. Yeah. We know that prayer and fellowship bring joy, yet we still pursue other things. I must constantly remind myself that I am on a mission for God's purpose, not just wandering on this earth. Yeah, I get that. I definitely tend to feel like I'm just wandering on this earth. because I feel so disconnected from society, and then I also feel so disconnected from God at times. And then I realize that he's the same today, tomorrow, and forever. So if anybody's disconnected, it's me, not God. Let's see what other people say. Okay. Here we got another one. One day, let's see. I see that in other subs you got some more balanced responses. I want to give mine here as well. You are still very new to the faith. Your passion is not a bad thing, but it can't make you come to the conclusion that you are ahead of others or that others are missing something. Oh, there you go. Here we go. Humble us. Where's the... Okay. Even though I can't talk, here's the deal with this channel. When we get a little bit of humbling truth, we're gonna come up with a humbling stick. So instead of taking a trip on my disco stick, you're taking a trip on my humbling stick. Anyways, no. It's awful. I don't know what the humbling stick would be either. Yeah. Actually, that's what we're gonna do though. We're gonna get the humbling stick. And today, it's my Nerf gun. Let me go get it. Alright. Let's get this shit. Oh, I'm so sweaty. Can't take it anymore. Ah! Anyways. So. Okay. So where did I left off? Alright. I'm gonna not see. Nothing in it. Nothing in it. Alright. Time for the humbling stick. Humbling bullets. Humbling bullets. Alright. The differences you describe in posting etc come down to personalities and being extrovert or introvert. Remember that online prayer things really are not the real thing. Oh. And in real life, people bring their whole lives into them. Or yeah, in real life, people bring their whole lives with them into prayer rooms. Yeah, I think that's, once again, God knows the heart. God knows the heart, and we will know them by their fruits, but you have to think about, we're building kingdom here, and the most important part is not about what treasures and what things that you get on this earth, because your rewards are to be in heaven. So that's another way to think of it. It might be that people have personal stuff to deal with, or pray to God alone, or like to listen, or maybe even that you are taking all the prayer space there is. Whatever you see, it doesn't say everything about things that can only be seen by God. Life and worship goes on beyond more than prayer meetings and church services. Yeah. Faith is endurance, and living for 80 years is a long time. You come off as kind of young to me, and I have definitely seen your passion in others before, and I have seen many of them sadly crash down and burn out. Some to the point of denying everything from the Bible. others just become normal like the people you describe. Even David, who had very high highs, described very low lows in his Psalms. Yeah, I think that's really important. I think that's really important. As much as I have been on fire for the Lord, in other ways, I have been completely against the Lord. You know, there have been times where I've renounced the Lord, and I did. I grew up in the church. I knew better. I knew better than to turn away from God. I knew better to dabble in. I knew better than to dabble in divination. I knew better than to play around and act like I could just live my life however I wanted to, right? Because at some point, I convinced myself that God was relative. So it's an interesting point to say that faith is endurance. In past times, I wasn't looking for the end goal. And I wasn't looking for the long-term end goal with my relationship with God. It was more just to give me something, Lord. Make me, exalt me, Lord. And so I really had to come to my knees and realize that there shouldn't be anything about me in the representation of Christ that I'm bringing forth, except for what He's done for me. That's all that should be there. So anyways, let's read on. Just remember, your passion and energy is not your salvation. Others are not behind you or lacking because you don't see it. Just remember, your passion, energy is not your salvation. Others are not behind you or lacking because you don't see it. And take heed lest you fall. Jesus had a parable about seeds. Some of it came up really fast and looked very promising early on. We are all different. So is the faith that is visible to us. Your energy and passion itself is a good thing. Use it for good. Don't be tempted to make it a bar to measure others against. Yeah. It's like they say, with whatever measure you judge others, you too shall be judged. So be careful with that. And what lukewarmness is a bad thing. It is between them and God, and you don't know the personal choices they are making that show they have a steadfast faith towards people around them. That's very fast. That's very fair too. You really don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what people's heart is. Once again, if there's somebody that you question whether they're really with God, that you don't have a place there besides to petition for them with God and to pray for them, pray for their soul, petition for their soul, and love that person as you would like them to love you if you were in their shoes, but don't get caught up on the plank in their eye, because I promise you got one way bigger in there. And that's the word of the wise. All right, that's really it. But anyways, I hope that was encouraging. I hope there's a little tidbit of golden wisdom from the Lord.